Hello and welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. On The Point of View, we bring you the right guests. We ask them the relevant questions on issues that matter to you. It's an interactive show. If you're watching, you can contribute to the discussion. You can ask questions on the WhatsApp number we are putting on the screen. If you're watching on social media as well, we are happy to hear from you. And today's show is a big one because it's a global phenomenon we are deconstructing in the next 1 hour. The coronavirus is ravaging populations in various parts of the world. And today we test Ghana's readiness to deal with the challenge. We also do some public education and give you a sense of what's been done to make sure that even if the virus gets here, it does not affect people. Stay with us. So the point of view today is discussing the coronavirus, and we're asking a simple question. Are we ready? The government of Ghana has set up a big team that's been working to keep us informed about this particular situation. First case was heard in December last year in Wuhan province, China. So far, over 3,000 people have died from the disease that has infected many people. I'll be talking to the DG of the Ghana Health Service to give me a sense of Ghana's readiness to deal with the disease. Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji is my guest in studio. Doc, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
He is the newly minted DG of the Ghana Health Service, so this is his first major assignment. But let me show you globally what's been happening with the coronavirus. So, as you know, the first case was reported December last year, and it's been growing in leaps and bounds. Started in China. There's actually a global situation room that monitors what's been happening. China seems to have the lion's share of cases with over 80,090 cases as of probably 10 minutes ago as we're speaking. Then, of course, there's South Korea. Then there are other countries within that vicinity like Japan, which have quite a number of cases. Now, 2,912 people have died in China from the virus of the 80,000 confirmed cases. South Korea has 4,335 confirmed cases, as the map would show. And we're going to zoom closer into South Korea and China very soon. And in South Korea, 22 people have died so far. Hong Kong, which is really considered a part of China, 98 confirmed cases, 2 deaths. Still within that same geographical area, Taiwan, which is also part of China, 40 confirmed cases, 1 death. Now, a very interesting development. There was a cruise ship. It's called the Diamond Princess. Within the week that the virus broke out, a month later, 706 confirmed cases on the cruise ship, 6 reported dead. Japan, which is really close to South Korea, and indeed this is where the ship docked, 256 confirmed cases, 6 reported deaths. Now, within that same area, Thailand, which just yesterday cancelled a major Grand Prix event, 43 confirmed cases, 1 death. And then there's Vietnam, there's Macau, there's Cambodia. Now, if you move to the Middle East, the country with the largest number of cases is Iran. 1,501 cases with 66 reported deaths. So you have Iran, which is the biggest of the Middle East. Kuwait has 56 cases, nobody dead. UAE 21 cases, 0 dead. Now, Lebanon 10 cases, nobody dead. Iraq 21 cases, nobody dead. Now let's move to Europe. In Europe, your biggest case is in Italy. Italy has the biggest situation of all the European countries. And as we speak this very evening, the number of people who have been affected in Italy is 1,694. 1,694 with 52 reported deaths. 1,694 with 52 reported deaths. Now, why is Italy important? Italy is important because the first sub-Saharan African country to contract or to have a case is Nigeria. Before that, we had 2 in Algeria, 1 in Egypt. Now, a few days ago, Nigeria had its first reported case of a man, an international worker who flew in from Milan, which is the epicenter of the infections in Italy, to Nigeria. So there's 1 case in Lagos. And a few moments before we came on air, we got the very troubling news that Senegal had also reported its first case. Senegal had reported its first case. So in SSA, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, we now have 2 African countries, both in West Africa. Of course, Algeria is in Africa, as is Egypt. But let me read the story on citinewsroom.com. It says, the first case of coronavirus in Senegal has been confirmed by the country's health minister, Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr. The patient is a Frenchman who lives in Senegal and flew back from France on 26th February. Mr. Sarr told a press conference in the capital, Dakar. The patient reported to a private hospital on 27th February with symptoms including a headache. The authorities are monitoring everyone who traveled on the same flight as well as the patient's family. And the minister said the country was prepared to deal with the virus, pointing out that Senegal had the facilities to test for the coronavirus. This is the second case in Sub-Saharan Africa after one was confirmed in Nigeria. So why is this a significant development? Nigeria, Ghana travel volumes very, very high. Let's bring my guest in studio. We'll take you to other parts of the world and show you a few reports. But Doc, welcome to the show. Good to have you. Good evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats on your new appointment.
Yeah.
So let's just jump straight in. Before we got on air, Senegal got its first case. Yeah. When you hear such things, how do you process it in terms of your preparation? Because first there was no Africa, then we got Egypt, we got Algeria, we have Nigeria, now Senegal. When such reports come to you, what would you typically do? How does that change your planning or your preparation?
Well, thank you very much. I think we have been preparing for such, not that we are welcoming such, but it also tells us that it's real, it's close, and it could just have been Ghana. And so we need to ensure that we intensify our efforts to be able to identify quickly, contain, and then manage. And I think that's the key word, identify quickly, so that it reduces the number of contamination or spread to other people, and we're able to isolate and quickly manage it. That's why the whole of the emergency preparedness for such conditions.
So you are ready? As in, what we are supposed to put in place by way of surveillance, quarantine, money, everything is ready?
You can say you are ready, but in such situation, what you do, you continue to add on, you continue to prepare, and as long as you have time, you build up until you are fully, to extra capacity to be able to be ready. So one can say we are ready, but in such emergencies, you need to continue building your structures on and on. For example, for case management, you may have to build capacity in all your facilities. So anytime, any day, you continue training more people who will be able to respond as and when the cases come. If you are training 50 people, you will want to expand them to 100, etc. So yes, we are ready, but we will continue to prepare to be more ready than it should be.
We'll come to the building blocks of the preparation, but explain this. What is the coronavirus? Where did it come from?
Well, it's one of those viruses that causes respiratory diseases, just like the MERS, the Middle East virus. It's also like the same virus that causes SARS. It is also found in animals, and in this particular one, it was said to have been moved from an animal into human. But viruses are able to adapt, and then when they start becoming from human to human, that's when it becomes a danger to society. So that's how a virus that mutated was able to move from animal to man. And
so we believe it came from an animal?
Yes, that's the information we have so far. That's what it is.
And that it started in Wuhan, China?
Yes, that's where we know it started from. Well, there have been disputes, but I still think the narrative with the fact that there was an animal market for which they suspect the first case might have come from.
Why is it so dangerous?
Yeah, because number one, it can kill, as you know. And also, most importantly, it's very, very efficient transmitter. It's very infectious. This particular condition is something that affects people much, much faster than, let's say, SARS on the other viruses that we know of. And that's what makes it more dangerous. Even though it doesn't kill as much as SARS does, in terms of the case fatality rate, because of the rates of transmission, it makes it very, very dangerous.
Now, some people say the virus is dangerous because it can develop before presenting. So you may have it but not know. So you can have it but there will be no symptom until it's actually too late. How does that complicate the conversation?
In actual fact, what makes it more dangerous is that we continue to learn more and more about the disease, about the virus, because things change. Previously, we thought it was just incubation period, but we also know that it can be transmitted during the incubation period and other things. So that's what happens with such new diseases as they come up, because we need to continue learning more about it, how its behavior, how to treat it, how to manage it. And so we continue getting to know more. So it is not something we can just say, well, it's one of those things, because we don't know what else it's going to do. So we continue working towards containment, because it's a new virus and viruses can change.
Okay. In terms of our plan to deal with this, I understand that one major part of this is surveillance at the airport. Some people have expressed concern that when they come through the airport, they don't see anything going on. Can you explain what's happening at the airport and why we should be confident that your surveillance at the airport is tight?
The surveillance is not just at the airport. It's at all
Entry
points of entry and in all parts of the country.
Good.
All districts. Now, at the airport, what you get down, for some airlines, you would have given your card that gives you a declaration form. That takes your bioinformation, your name, your age, where you have traveled in the last few weeks before getting into Ghana, your flight number, which seat you were sitting on, and then we want to know your address back home, your telephone number, among other things. Then we check whether, are you coughing, do you have body aches, are you sneezing, you have chest pain, do you have difficulty in breathing. These are the core symptoms that we have. And so when they look at all that, where you have been to, whether you have been to a place where there's an outbreak, and whether you have any of those symptoms, then you go on to take your temperature. A significant number, more than 90% of all those with the conditions have temperature. And we have the thermal scanners. There are some you don't see. It's not at the airport, you don't have the handheld one. But as you pass, your temperature is taken. So someone may say my temperature is not taken, but as soon as you cross a certain line, the temperature is taken. And if it exceeds 37.5, they'll come to you and talk to you.
Are we doing surveillance testing where people are being tested at the point of entry?
No.
We are not?
No. We only do, when you do that profiling and you feel that you're at risk, either through symptoms or where you have come from, then you'll be isolated, and then that is when we do the test. So when you meet the case definition, which is basically anybody who has been to China or has been to any of the affected country in the last 2 weeks, having these symptoms of cough, temperature, among others, can be seen as a case definition. And then that will be the trigger that will take you through some of the tests, etc.
Let me take viewers to the airport. Nia Ikwe Otu was at the airport a week ago to just talk to people and get a general sense of what was going on there, to show us how ready we were. So let's go to the airport.
Statistics as at Tuesday, February 4th, from various international portals put the death toll to over 400, with over 20,000 persons having been infected with the virus. The outbreak of the virus has been confirmed in more than 25 countries and territories since it was first detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan in December 2019. Countries such as the UK and US are in the process of evacuating their citizens from the troubled Wuhan city. Others have cancelled flights to the Chinese city. As part of efforts to educate the public on some of the measures put in place, the ministry on Tuesday took journalists to the Kotoka International Airport to observe some of the preventive measures they have set up.
We have all covered our noses here. So if any one of us has a viral infection in our noses, if we breathe out, it doesn't go to anybody. Okay, in the same way, if somebody on the other side coughs on you, for example, you don't get it. So we need to educate the public on the preventive measures and the fact that if you have any of the symptoms, there's a fever, there's a sore throat, cough, difficulty in breathing, go to a health facility. If the person has traveled to China or any other place where there's been the outbreak, that information must be given to the health worker so that they know what we could possibly be dealing with.
The Ministry of Health in a media briefing says government will receive 10,000 protective kits for frontline workers to help in tackling the virus in case of any outbreak.
The Ministry of Health has indicated a process to procure 10,000 pieces of personal protective equipment for the use of all our frontline workers. Arrangements are being made to procure insurance cover for all frontline workers who will be engaged in this exercise.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Health, Kwekwa Menu, advised immigrants against the provision of wrong details on forms provided at entry points. He says this hampers efforts at tracking persons who may be affected by the virus from other countries.
With this public discussion engagement, people will now believe that if you help a foreigner take fake address, when it comes to tracking, we might not find him, and you put all of us, the country, at risk. And I believe people will learn from this.
So that was Ni Ayiko Okan's report. Now, take note of a few numbers. As of 4th February, 400 people had died. Today is 2nd March. 3,079 people had died. So in a month, the death rate has, I don't know, almost gone up times 6.
Yeah.
Is that normal? That's unbelievable.
Well, that's the surge. That's why we're saying the rate of transmission is very, very high. And but you have to look at it within the context, the number of cases. As the number of cases go, you're still looking at about 2% compared to something in the region of 30% for SARS and others. So yes, we know that a significant number will recover without harm, but it's a few that will die. But because of the rate of assuming that even if you have 2% of 1 million people, that's a significant number of deaths.
When you look at the map we showed, is it normal to have initially just China, South Korea, the ship? Now almost all of Europe has it. It's in the US. Every continent apart from Antarctica has it. Within 3 weeks. Is that a normal way things like this behave?
Well, yes. And the current environment we live in now, that's how fast it moves because of travel, rapid travel, flights left and right. You can see these are major transit hubs where people are moving in and out. And so that's where you have a lot of those happening. So because, I mean, previously, if this was happening about 30, 40 years ago, probably when people are coming, maybe 50 years ago, coming to Africa by ship, it take you 3 weeks or 4 weeks to get here. Obviously, you would have developed your condition. And so it was not, but now with the speed of travel, it's quite easy for things to spread so fast.
So why has it taken so long to get to Africa? Is it because of frequency of travel that more people move from China and Europe to Americas than to Africa? Or could it be some other reasons? Because some are speculating that no black person has contracted the virus yet, and they feel there could be genetic, racial type of...
Well, I think the movement plays a key role in the condition. And this is starting from somewhere. It's actually going to be an importation. And so until it's imported into your country and becomes a community spread, you cannot assume that if a black person comes in contact, he will not get it. So I don't.
But do we know if there's been? Has there been a profiling? Because, for example, if you look at the numbers, there's an age profile. The older people are more likely to die than younger people. Men are more likely to die than women. Have we done that work for race?
Well, what we haven't done is whether in cases where, say, for example, in countries where you have a lot of blacks, whether they are also part of the numbers. Currently, we are only getting numbers not necessarily given you by race. So I will not be able to say whether the number of cases in for example, Italy does not include Africans or it's just Italians or Caucasians. So one cannot really, but genetically we are the same. So,
but there are conditions that, for example, fibroids, sickle cell.
Yes.
There are conditions that we know people of certain genetic.
Yes, everybody gets it, but some has there's the preponderance getting it from in a particular group may be higher than others. Even within one race, some groups of people may still may be at higher risk of certain conditions, but not to say that you don't get it at all. That is what I'm talking about.
But we are not sure if any black person has contracted it yet.
There's not to my knowledge, not to the information I have, because the information we have is 90,000. Nobody is breaking them down into whether they are black or white. Of course, there was earlier there was a Cameroonian student who got it, and she is obviously black.
A Cameroonian student got it?
Got it, and she recovered. So that was an early part of the outbreak.
But she was not based in Cameroon?
She was not based in China.
A Chinese-based Cameroonian student contracted it?
Yes.
But recovered?
Recovered. But that was the first student who got it. And so she obviously was black. And so...
Okay, so I understand you have some emergency monitoring room or something where you are sort of... What are you doing there? We have some pictures of some people sitting in a room with some computers. And guys, please put it up. It's like they are sitting in some command center. What are they doing? What's this?
Oh, okay. This is the call center.
A call center?
Where we are giving out numbers that people who need information and support could call in. And then they'll be connected to the rapid response team and the other people who are managing the condition. And so this is a call center that people can call.
So if somebody sees... if somebody feels they have certain symptoms,
or you feel that there's somebody who may have the condition that we feel we need to know, these are all...
But have you educated people on what to look out for in order to call, so we don't get prank calls?
Yes. I think people know about the symptoms. People know the fact that there's a preponderance of certain people who may have come in fresh and having it, and so for surveillance, rumors are important. You may have a lot of prank calls or information, but you may also have one that may also be very relevant. So you don't just...
okay.
So rumors is also part of the distance. But it's also to provide you where you can go to, where you can seek help, and etc. And then connecting you to the appropriate centers.
So this is one main call center.
One main call center. This is the regional hospital.
So when you call, they will then advise you on what to do, whether to stay where you are or they'll bring a health professional to you.
Or communicate or connect you to one or anybody who can give you the appropriate information. They may not be the right people to give you the information, but they are able to connect you to somebody who can give you the appropriate information.
So what is the contact number they are supposed to call?
I don't really have it, but it's been put out through our press conference.
Put up our infographic, because I want to show viewers the basic things you need to know about the coronavirus. Then I'm going to come to other issues. So we've put together an infographic, and I'm sure there are lots of infographics circulating, essentially telling people about what the condition is exactly. So
I hope you have the ones that Ghana has produced.
This is from your material. This is from your material. Okay. Wash your hands frequently with soap and running water. Use alcohol hand rub when you stand and when your hands are not visibly dirty. Keep a distance of at least 1 step. This is from your information. From a person showing signs of fever, coughing, and difficulty breathing. Do not touch eyes, mouth, or nose with unwashed hands. Thoroughly cook meat and eggs. Now, explain point 4 to me. Why should we not touch eyes, mouth, or nose?
Yeah, because these are mucous areas, which is, one would say, virtually raw. So if you have the virus on your hand, touching your skin or maybe may not be able to, but these are your conjunctiva, your lips are open areas where virus can quickly go in. So it's like putting it straight into the
So don't touch your own eyes, mouth, or nose, or with other people's eyes, mouth, or nose as well?
Yes, with your hand, especially when it's dirty, when you have not washed it, because the virus will stay on this table for a couple of days. And so the touching and rubbing it is something that you can just infect yourself if someone who has touched the place or sneezed here, among other things. So that's why hand washing is extremely important.
And then you said we should thoroughly cook meat, because you still believe the virus can be transmitted through...
Yeah, I mean, that's how it originally came from. So we're still going to ensure that we still don't have animal to man transmission.
All right. Now, before I take my break, let me ask about containment. Because we're talking about surveillance. You are saying we are surveying, with surveillance happening at all entry points.
In the districts.
And also in the districts.
Yes, because most of the cases we have picked, apart from 5 from the airport, the rest have come from clinics and suspected cases.
So you're doing... Now, how many... Do we have any quarantine center? As in, if somebody presents with a case and you don't want the person to transmit it to other people?
We have options. So when we get there, we'll have a place to put them.
What do you mean?
I mean, we have options of quarantine. Places where we can quarantine. We have not had a need to use that yet.
Also, you have a place?
Yes.
Places across the country? Can you name
any? Well, I think at the appropriate time, you get to know.
No, I'm asking because I thought that quarantine, which is part of containment, is actually one of the key strategies. So surveillance is number one.
No, I mean...
Quarantine, so like if it's money, if there's somebody...
It's okay.
Yeah.
There's quarantine is usually people who do not have the condition. But I believe that they may have been exposed.
Yes.
And so you want to keep them somewhere until the incubation period is over before you let them out. When someone has a case, you isolate and treat. So far, we have not had a situation to quarantine. For example, if we had a case who tested positive, then we'll look for all contacts, anybody who may have come across them, whether positive or not, and make them quarantine them until the incubation period is over to ensure that if they develop it, they don't give it to anybody. But so far, we don't have any positive case, and so...
But I'm not sure, but I know, but I was thinking that there will be designated, or the quarantine designation will be based on where the thing happens. As in, if the person is in Kumasi, then you look for a Kumasi quarantine.
No. Usually, quarantines are not in the middle of town. They are where they can be isolated from people. And to such time, if you look at Australia, they put them on an island, adjacent island before.
But we haven't contemplated a quarantine location.
Oh, we have contemplated. I mean, it's all part of our master plan.
You're not mentioning any.
I mean, those are not the things you just want to be...
Because the public will want to know that you are ready for this.
Yes, when we need to quarantine, we have places where you quarantine.
Good. The minister said that we would have 10,000 face masks. This was he was speaking. Yes. Do we have them?
Yes, we have them. We have actually distributed 5,000 already across the country. And mind you, we had PPEs before, from the leftover from the Ebola crisis. And so we just added up. We are already adding more, additional 5,000 to make it 10,000. But these are all scenarios where we have, when the situation changes, so an unlikely event of getting, or if we get a case and we need to look at containment and treatment, we may need to scale up the number of protective wear that we need.
We'll take a break. We're talking to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service on our preparedness for the coronavirus. It's now in Senegal. One person has been confirmed. This person traveled from France. It's also in Nigeria. This person traveled from Italy. It's not yet in Ghana. We pray it doesn't come in, but we are testing our readiness. I'll take you to China when we come back because there are some interesting things the Chinese are doing to deal with the disease. And some of our students in China say they want to come home, but we send them kinky. We'll look at some of the balls they send them when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Point of View. Today we're trying to understand the spread of the coronavirus. It broke out in Wuhan town in Hubei province in China, December last year. And as of 9:30 today, March the 2nd, 89,844 confirmed cases, 3,079. So in fact, between the time we started this program and now, there have been a few more cases confirmed. Now, what are the Chinese doing to contain this? I'm going to take you to CGTN, which is a China Global Television Network. Some very interesting and efficient ways in which the Chinese have gone about dealing with the spread. Because if you notice, the rate of infection or new cases in China is reducing. Although the cases globally are increasing. Almost all countries in Europe, a few countries in the Middle East, now a couple in Africa. You'll notice that the rate of new cases in China has gone down, partly because of what I'm coming to show you.
Wuhan, a metropolis of 11 million residents in central China's Hubei province. This winter, the city is fighting an unprecedented defensive battle. The enemy is the novel coronavirus. By January 23rd, there were 495 confirmed cases in Wuhan. To minimize the spread of the virus, the city, with a population 1.3 times that of New York, was locked down. China then began a large-scale rescue mission. On January 24th, the first batch of medical teams from outside Hubei arrived. Meanwhile, Chinese companies were ordered to build a 1,000-bed hospital within 10 days, and a second soon followed. On January 25th, China held a top-level meeting on the outbreak, and confidence in winning the battle was expressed. Unfortunately, the disease continued to spread. By February 2nd, the total confirmed cases in Wuhan surpassed 5,000. The next day, the construction of 3 temporary hospitals began. Since February 7th, the Chinese government has called on 19 other provinces and municipalities to send medics to cities in Hubei. On February 9th alone, 6,000 medical workers landed at Wuhan's airport. On February 11th, the total number of confirmed cases in the city neared 20,000. 2 days later, the Chinese Air Force sent cargo planes carrying 1,400 more medics from the army. Over 1,500 medical workers have been infected, and some laid down their lives to save others. To plug a shortage of protective suits, masks, and other medical supplies, Chinese manufacturers from various industries were mobilized. The daily capacity of mask production was raised from 8 million to over 50 million. Huge volumes of material supplies headed for Wuhan. By February 23rd, China had dispatched over 330 medical teams, incorporating 41,600 medics to the virus-hit Hubei. Wuhan has built 2 infectious disease hospitals, increased the number of designated hospitals to over 40, and put in use 13 temporary hospitals, bringing the total number of available beds to over 40,000, while preparing another 70,000 beds at quarantine sites. No one is left unattended. Fortunately, new confirmed cases in Wuhan have finally started to decline. The dawn of victory has appeared. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said,
"At its source appear to have bought the world time, even though those steps have come at greater cost to China itself."
It is a special war between humans and a new virus. Defending Wuhan is protecting China and the whole world. No victory should be hastily announced until there is a complete...
So that was a CGTN summary of what China has been doing. Take note of the numbers there. So, I mean, February 4, about 5,000 cases. By February 19, 20,000. And it just keeps increasing and increasing. Now, 41,600 medics. I look at those numbers and then I come to Ghana. The total number of doctors in Ghana is not up to 4,000, is it? If you put all our medical doctors, how many are we?
Maybe about 5 to 6.
In Ghana?
Yes.
I see, because the 2016 figures I had was around 3,365 for 2016.
Yeah, but
that's a few years ago.
Years ago. A significant number have been recruited.
So if you look at what China is doing, and you look at our numbers, the number of doctors we have, the number of health facilities we have, of course, it's on a different scale. But, I mean, as the one running Ghana's health service, when you see this, built a hospital in 10 days, 2 new infectious centers, 1,600 medics moved from 19 states in a week. I mean, could we, if something like this happened in Ghana, what would be your response? Could you do something like this?
Well, that's quite an impressive response, I must say. And even looking at the numbers and resources we have, we will not be able to respond. That's why the activity to prevent and contain early is extremely important, so that we don't have cases. And then you look at the surge. You know, once you start having a few cases, then there's a surge across, just like it happened in that short time. And that is something we all have to work to prevent, because that will be a big stretch on our resources.
Let's look.
We contain that.
So we're speaking about surveillance, we're speaking about quarantine. What about testing? What is our state of preparation when it comes to testing?
Yeah, fortunately, before the condition came, we had 2 level 3 labs in the country that could do that, KCCR and Noguchi. And so within 4 to 6 hours, we get results.
Within 4 to 6 hours?
We are able to get results. And so,
how many cases have we tested? How many
so
suspects
far,
have we
we've
tested?
done about 33. They're about, even today, there's one being tested.
And all have proved negative?
All have been negative.
How kosher are our tests? Do you need to send the samples to South Africa or somewhere?
No. They are done here, Noguchi, and it's a state of
100% sure.
100%, because it's not antibody test. It's testing the DNA of the virus, so you can't get it.
So as soon as so there's no need to check with any international agency.
No.
So we have Noguchi and
KCCR
in Kumasi.
Master for the collaboration research.
Are those enough?
For now, it's enough.
They are enough.
For now, it's enough. The number of type of cases we are having. If we have a surge, there might be a delay, and there may be an opportunity to probably open up new centers. But I believe
so the 2 centers are on point.
On point.
What about treatment?
Yes.
So far, we've tested 33, no positive. So assuming somebody was positive, what have we put in place?
So we have the rapid response team, which is supposed to be the one to go in and institute treatment. Currently, as you know, there's no definitive treatment for the coronavirus. Countries are using combinating therapy with antivirals. We treat the symptoms. We use ventilators to ensure that those who are having respiratory distress are given oxygen and protected, manage the temperature, among others. So that's what they do. And that's what we are also going to do. There's a talk of chloroquine, and the WHO is taking a look at it. So we have a team. Some of the teams were part of the people who went to Liberia during the Ebola cases to treat. They are still around here. We trained about, in Accra alone, we trained about over 40, almost 50 per center. The Tema and the Rich centers have people who are able to train. We have all our regional hospitals, teaching hospitals have trained people who are able to respond to treat. So the lower facilities may just be a holding center until it's confirmed, and then they are moved to a training center to be treated.
Occupy Ghana sent a press release today. They said that our health system could get very overwhelmed quickly if there's an outbreak of COVID-19.
Yes.
Without an acute expansion of our intensive care capabilities in the next few days. Are they correct?
Yes. I mean, if you have a surge and you have a significant number needing ventilation, then the system will be overwhelmed. And so, fortunately, we also have the Deborah ward. We are trying to quickly, it's an infectious disease ward I'll put in 37. We are quickly trying to make sure it gets ready with some level of ICU that can be used to look at that. But if you have a surge, that may not be enough. And that's why we are saying that the planning is in phases and in scenario, and I'm sure the Chinese didn't plan to build 3 hospitals. But when the situation got out, the decision was taken to respond appropriately. So in such cases, you continue planning and continue strengthening and beefing up your system.
2 hospitals have been identified for treatment, Tema and Ridge.
But that's the one at the main center we talk about. But all regional hospitals in the country and the teaching hospitals, our 14 centers, are designated centers for treatment. And they are built capacity so that they are able to treat. So you don't have to carry somebody from, let's say, Kumasi to Tema or Ridge.
So Every regional hospital is a treatment center.
Yes,
but the two leading are Tema and Ridge.
Yeah, because the greatest risk is in Accra because of our port, sea and port.
Now, I ask this because there was a report last week from the media that Tema General Hospital didn't have running water. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I've been informed, but I'm sure you can always mobilize water. May have been a problem.
They haven't had water for over a year, apparently. This is what they said. The report is that they don't have tap water.
Yeah, that place was not being used.
But why do you choose a hospital that has running water as your...
Well, I mean, these centers, especially the Tema one, was put up during the Ebola crisis, just to be able to... such cases are isolated and treated. And I'm sure probably the situation is not as it was when it was reported.
We are also told that when Kolebu... a case was sent to Kolebu. Kolebu did not seem ready.
Well, I think there must have been some exaggeration. Obviously, this is a human institution, and this was very early part when the information and training had not gone far enough. But in all cases, in all fairness, when you look at it, they were actually isolated. And all these rumors that they got up and went home and came back is all not true.
It wasn't true. What about oxygen, ventilators, and things like this?
Yes, all our regional hospitals have oxygen.
Every regional hospital has enough oxygen.
Yes, oxygen to be able to give.
Let's talk about coordination. We understand that the Emergency Operations Center, which was set up during the Ebola epidemic, was dismantled when the outbreak subsided. Should that have happened? Because then that would have been sort of re-engaged for this particular one.
That was a temporary site. It was not supposed to last that long. I mean, some of them were tents, among others. And so the coordination is the Ghana Health Service, Immigration, Customs, NADMO, Veterinary Services, Ambulance Services. It's a whole agency, the NGOs, other ministries, Ministry of Information are all part of the team coordinating the response.
Who is leading the response effort?
The health sector leads the response for now, yeah.
So this is your institution, the Ghana
Health Service and the Minister of Health.
Let's talk about money.
Yeah.
They gave you 2.5 million cedis. I understand you need 36 million.
You see, that's what
was reported.
So that fund was even released before we submitted the budget.
Okay.
And so that was an initial phase. In actual fact, it's not 2.5, it's $500,000. That comes about 2.8.
So 2.8 million cedis.
Cedis. And we have spent actually more than that because it's not like the surveillance system was paralyzed. There were resources that was also being there. So far we have spent far in excess of that. But that was just an initial push. As and when we need more resources, I believe the government will come to a table with the resources. I mean, if you get into a surge situation, definitely. And so when you see the 35 million, it is not that we need the 35 million today. It's all in the scenarios. If you have a first case, what additional systems should we start putting in place? And that is when we need to. Should we have more test kits? These are all coming. Because we start having a case, and if you are going to have more cases, you need to have more laboratory test kits, you need to expand your laboratory system, you need to train more people to respond. So these are all scenario-based. And so it's really the issue that is not there, because we have actually spent a lot more, far more than what we have received.
We are still trying to gauge our readiness to deal with the coronavirus. New case in Senegal, a case in Nigeria. South Africa announced last week it was repatriating or removing its students from China back in South Africa. Let me take you to China. Here are what our students have been saying. They want to come home, and we have quite a lot of students in China. Here's a quick video from Ghanaians in China, students, talking about why they feel they should be brought back home.
We have come across the press statement from the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service declaring the position of the government of Ghana that they are not planning to evacuate us now. They are monitoring the situation. And I wish to express our disappointment as Ghana students in Wuhan at the moment. We feel very much disappointed in the whole thing and how the Ghana Health Service and the experts are narrating our situation here. We wish to express the sentiment that in fact our government is disappointing us because we feel disappointed. We believe that where there is a will, there is a way. And I wish to reiterate that they should stop treating us as if we are the virus or we are infected. I can say on the record that no Ghanaian student or citizen in Wuhan has been infected by the virus. And there is also WHO or World Health Organization standardized procedure for undertaking evacuation, which is all the students are picked up from their various locations to a central location where they are medically tested and thoroughly screened to make sure that none of them is infected before they are allowed to board. And upon arrival in Ghana, we are screened again and we are quarantined for a number of days.
We are indoors. Today is about 21 days since the lockdown, and it is very devastating, as I said. And we still call on the government of Ghana to reconsider its decision and come to our aid and evacuate us. Our compatriots from Algeria, from Egypt, even Libya have evacuated their students from Wuhan. Wuhan is the epicenter where the seriousness of the virus is.
The case or the epidemic is not getting better, especially the cases keep on increasing, and it has really caused fear and panic among every Ghanaian in China, especially for those that they are at the epicenter, Wuhan. And it has made it to call for evacuation, and of which the government of Ghana and the Ghana mission in China here have assured them that they are really working for the evacuation. So I want to use this opportunity to urge the Ghana government to fast track the process for the evacuation, whilst we through that we are left in other cities. We try to adhere to the precautions and measures that have been put in place by the Chinese government to keep all of us safe. So the fear and panic here is massive, but we are believing God that sooner than later this thing will be a thing of the past, so that all of us will go with our daily or our usual activities that we used to do in China.
So those were some Ghanaian students from China, living in China and then in Italy, the two main places where the disease, of course, there's also South Korea as well. So the government of Ghana decided not to bring them back. Why?
Well, I mean, thank you very much. This is not the best practice as far as public health is concerned. And as you remember, WHO even advised against such evacuation. What you do is that that process tends to probably spread the disease faster than it should be. Our position was that because they were getting good care, but they were getting good support, we felt that there was no risk so there was no point in bringing them. But we will continue to watch the situation, and as you can see, the numbers are coming down.
In China?
In China.
But it's growing out. So you feel bringing them would have predisposed Ghana to more risk, even though they are saying that there was no reported case among them?
Yes, but also, is it necessary? Is it necessary? Is it...
well, there's no place like home.
Yes, but I mean, that's what the ideal thing is, that there are also other conditions that we need to consider, that even if you were, like I keep saying, even if you were to get a disease, in a likely event, you are probably better off in China because they have experience managing that condition. And
I see. Let's go back to China, because some of the students sent us a video saying that after government refused to bring them back, government sent them balls of
but
kimchi.
you see, what probably the media should have looked at is how many students are there, how many really wanted to come home.
I
see, and we have that information.
How many?
A significant number did not want to come home.
Did you do a survey?
Yes, we do a survey.
So those who were getting in touch that they wanted to come home were few?
Yes.
Majority wanted to stay?
Yes.
Really? Did you contact them? How did you get to know?
There are many ways we work with the security services, etc. They also have the way of getting to them. There are ways of...
How many
the
Ghanaians...
ambassador is always...
How many Ghanaians are in China?
I know there are about 162 in Wuhan. There are about 162 students.
In Wuhan?
Yes, and so
and
the
majority
ambassador was
didn't
in
want to come
touch with them every other day. And so he asked the information about the situation that they were in and those who really wanted to come. And they also had a better opportunity to assess whether the systems and the protection that they were getting was adequate. If, of course, it's inadequate, we would have brought them.
Let me
would have recommended.
Yeah. I want to show you something, though. I think it's still an interesting video some of them sent to us. They said they were sent balls of kinky. I don't know who decision that was for that intervention, but I thought it was quite funny. Please show me the kinky before we go on, if you have it.
The embassy of Ghana here in China to students in Wuhan. So, yeah, it's kinky. They brought kinky. Kinky. Okay. And this fancy kinky. Fancy kinky.
Oh, kinky.
This way. Then this way, you need to see no shito, no tin fish, nothing. And this is for about 16 students. This.
Well, if there's no shito with the kinky, at least they can do maski. I mean, when I was abroad, I used to buy half-cooked kinky from a Ghana shop, and it was really good for me. So if they don't like it, if you send it to the guys in the UK. Let me read some comments for you. Yeah. John Mark Ekwapim, Ghana is not ready. This is what I think. Emmanuel Intakradi, good evening, Bernard. Please update us on the status of the USA. Okay. I'll give you the USA shortly. It's on my moving map. Just a second. I'm crossing the pond. Whilst I do that, everybody has a role to play, and public education on COVID-19 is very necessary. At this point, in taxes, trotros, churches, and markets, we need to inform people. # point of view. USA has 89 confirmed cases, 6 reported deaths. That's the US. Canada, 24 cases, 0 deaths. As of 9:49, 89,844 cases globally, 3,079 deaths. Good evening, Bernard. Someone from okay, someone's message is rather long. Adenta, what I humbly suggest with regards to coronavirus is for us to boost our immune system while we pray for cure. I don't know what that means. Wisdom Ativo Dansoman, hello. We were made to understand that the disease can be transmitted even without the patient showing symptoms such as fever. Why have we limited the screening modality to only symptoms? That's a good question.
No, we have not limited. That's why we do the declaration form to look at those at risk. And we follow them up to see how they are until the incubation period is over.
So you don't limit the surveillance to only those who show symptoms?
No.
Once you pass through the scanner, it will take your temperature? Take
your temperature. If you're okay, but if you feel there's a risk, especially people who have come from this, we currently are following them up.
But the temperature is a symptom, so if there's no...
That's a sign, yeah.
You can still have it without a temperature?
Well, you can also have a temperature that is of a different cause.
Yeah, so my point is somebody can have the coronavirus, enter Ghana, temperature scanner picks normal 37.4.
Yes.
And then, so that's why they were asking for surveillance testing, where they're saying if you're from Italy or China, we're going to test you properly with a sample.
Yes, we haven't gotten to that stage yet, but it may be at a stage where they may not test positive even when they are developing the condition. And so that is why we have the declaration form. That gives us a sense of, even if you are coming from Italy, where exactly in Italy are you coming from? And the rest. You see, when we believe that there's some risk, we will isolate you and test you.
Is prayer one of our strategies? Well,
there's nothing wrong with prayer.
The way you describe the whole thing, it seems to me as if some of this is beyond our capabilities.
No, what we are saying is that if you get into that surge where you had in China, it will overwhelm the health system. That we must agree. And so we are working very hard to ensure that we are able to, if a case comes, we are able to identify it early and contain it, so that you don't come through VIP and travel all the way to some village for 5 days before you find out. By that time, we would have contaminated so many people. That's why the border checks and the surveillance system is so strong that we are picking you early. We have fewer people to follow up on, and then are able to quickly contain. That's the containment stage that we are in now. And so normally, I'm sure if China didn't have the resources to do what they did, it would have overwhelmed their system.
Okay. So we will prepare for the worst but hope for the best. Yeah. I think that's the best way to go. My guest has been Dr. Patrikuma Boaji. He's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, leading a team working to make sure that even if we got the coronavirus into Ghana, it will be contained and dealt with. We hope you have been convinced. My name is Bernard Avle. Thank you for watching The Point of View on Citi TV. Stay with us. We'll be with you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on Citi TV's YouTube channel. Subscribe for more videos on The Point of View. My name is Bernard Avle. Thank you.
The Point of View with Bernard Avle. Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.